we go. I have the title all copy and pasted, and I just didn't use it. So now we're back with a title that has nothing to do with this beautiful quote, but I'm going to paint this quote onto a canvas for my sister. And it is sitting here in front of me. She is a gardener, and I thought it was lovely. Hey, what do you need?
Can I have my muffin?
Yes, it should be in a... Let's see. Oh, we're flipped. Hi. How is everyone? Hi, Jessica. I have an oven timer going off, so you're going to have to follow me in the kitchen. I forgot. Okay, that needs about 2 more minutes. So I thought I would hop on here today and talk a little bit about math facts. But let me introduce myself first. Okay, my name is Mary Wilson. I am a homeschool mom of 4 kids. They are 13, 11, 9, and 7. Oh, Karen, I'm so glad you said that because that is exactly what I am here to talk about. So we are going to talk about when your kids aren't getting the math facts and moving forward, not letting them stop you. So this is my website. This is where I try to keep up with my blog, and I have a Facebook page, and you can find me at Not Before 7 on Facebook, on Instagram, here on Periscope. That's kind of my name around social media. All right, and I'll try to update it with this. So I was actually a math teacher. I taught 5th grade for 2 years, and then I got certified in K through 12 math, and I went on to teach 7th grade and then 6th grade mathematics from kind of general math up through algebra. So my love is actually algebra, because by then kids had their math facts. Usually, not all, but math facts was not my thing. So I have now had to teach. I'm on my 3rd one that I'm teaching math facts right now, and I'll have a 4th one. So the biggest thing I came here to say is practicing math facts is important. I don't want to negate that. I have all sorts of resources. I'm going to share some today. Practice is a great thing. Seeing those math facts in front of you is a great thing. But the next thing I want to say is to not let it stop you from moving forward, which is exactly what Karen said at the beginning, that she's feeling like she can't move forward because her kids don't have the math facts. And I had so many friends say, oh, we can't go to long division. I mean, how do you go to long division? Oh, that's my oven timer again. I'm sorry. I'm going to really quick take these biscuits out of the oven. I have a book club tonight, and I am making, I'll show you, little piggy biscuits for my Lord of the Flies book club. So they are now done. Back to math facts, but you know, this is life of mom. You're doing 800 things at once. So what do I do when my kids don't learn their math facts and they need to move on to long division or all that kind of stuff? So you just move on. And here's what I then give them. I tell them to use a hundreds chart to do the math facts. In fact, I have never taught long division in this house without giving my kids a multiplication chart. Long division is hard enough conceptually to figure out when you're also trying to recall facts that you just learned. So my oldest actually got her math facts fairly easily compared to my second, and I still gave her a hundreds chart to use when she was doing math facts. Your run-of-the-mill composition books, clearly we reuse them quite a bit, have a multiplication chart in the back, right there. You can see my kids use it. And I just hand this over. And I will be honest, I don't have a time that I take it away. If my kids need to use the multiplication chart, I just let them. I've never worried about it because in addition to that, we also practice the facts. So the hundreds chart allows them, the multiplication chart allows them to keep progressing in math while practicing their facts simultaneously, but without hampering them. And the one thing I used to hate as a teacher is when we had a kid's weakness, it's like all they got to do, and that's not fun. Oh, there's a ton of stuff that they can do with multiplication charts. I mean, you can do pattern, you can do all sorts of stuff. But this is just how we used it for them to do their math. My daughter recently made one. I had her, this was for Beast Academy. And it had some of the numbers filled in, and then I had her fill them in, and now she's using it on her own. But as part of her practice, she filled it in herself. So a lot of kids need to apply the math facts to be able to learn them. That rote flashcard memorization doesn't work for everyone. But once they start to use them in word problems, in long division, in problem solving, they start to get it faster. So by just keeping them on math fact practice and not progressing, sometimes you're hampering their ability to learn it. I've also found that my kids do better with some of the higher level thinking math when they don't have to get hung up on the facts that they haven't learned. Somebody asked how old my oldest was that I still have let use the multiplication chart. I'm an 11-year-old using it right now. It is a struggle for her. We've done some educational testing. There's definitely some learning disabilities there. The psychologist said that there are just kids that getting that short-term to long-term memory with numbers and facts can be really difficult. So I have no time limit for her. You know, it's funny, there's a meme that goes around Facebook and it has an iPhone and it says, our teacher said we wouldn't always have a calculator. Yeah, you do. Oh, do they use it on tests too? I don't actually give math tests in our homeschool. My oldest is in pre-algebra this year. She does take tests according to teaching textbooks. I don't actually grade them. I mean, we look and go over them. She hasn't needed a multiplication chart since she was in 4th or 5th grade, but absolutely, I give it to them on tests. My child who's still using them regularly, I definitely, if you're letting them use it for daily practice, then give it to them on the tests. And here's my theory, because I taught middle school math, and I actually worked with the kids who could not pass a test called the Maryland Functional Math Test at the time. They did not know their math facts and they were in 7th grade. And what I taught them to do to be able to pass that test, they would pass out the test and they would pass out scrap paper. And I taught them how to make a multiplication chart on their scrap paper in less than 2 minutes. So that the first 2 minutes before they started that test, I said, make a multiplication chart and then do the test. So in my mind, they were using a multiplication chart for the test, the standardized test. So I would let my kid do the same thing, but I'm not going to bother having them have to make the multiplication chart every time. I'm just going to let them use it. And what I have seen is that constantly having the facts, you're having to look them up, look them up, look them up. You're using that multiplication chart. Oh, what is 8 times 8? It's slowly put it in their brain. It just adds to the practice that we're already doing. Things that I like for practice, I love 1-minute math. I actually own it for addition, subtraction, and division, and multiplication. The only one I use is multiplication. 1-minute math has a level A multiplication and has a level B. And what it does is it goes through each math fact one at a time. Each test has 30 problems. The new fact that your student is learning will be 40% of those 30 problems. The fact they learned on the worksheet before is 10 to 20% of the test. And then it's a mixture of all the other ones. So they go through one at a time. So there's 2 times 4. 40% of these problems are 2 times 4 or 4 times 2. The other 10 to 20% are the one they did just before this, which would be 2 times 3. And then it's just 2 times 2 and 2 times 1 and all mixed in. I introduced the hundreds chart as we get into needing multiplication. So typically, like in Singapore, which is what I use for most of my kids, they just start doing simple math facts, and we don't really use the 100 chart for that. We do skip counting, and I see, oh, I have to watch Alicia's. I see the kids, how they're doing with it. before I just throw a hundreds chart at them. Like I said, my oldest didn't need it as much. I definitely gave it to her for long division because long division is so hard in and of itself to remember all the steps that I didn't make her have to do the math facts from rote memory, even though she had a lot of them. My second child is 11 and really struggling to learn them and memorize them. So she's been using the hundreds chart for like 3 years, ever since 2-digit multiplication, long division. As soon as we got beyond the basic facts that she could skip count, I didn't want her to have to stop her math book just because the next part was 3 digits times 2 digits. And that was just way overwhelming if you don't know your math facts. But I wanted her to learn the process of how we multiply a 3-digit number by a 2-digit number. So I just handed her the hundreds chart. And now she can do the process. Oh, same multiplication chart. I'm sorry, I keep saying hundreds chart. It is a multiplication chart. It is not a chart that just counts to 100. It is a chart that has the multiplications. So 4 times 3, and she can look it up. Yeah, I like Singapore. My second daughter has not had a lot of success with it. Again, she struggles a lot with math. We have moved on to Beast Academy, which is its own scope, and I dropped her all the way back to 3A, and now we're on 3B. What I am loving about 3B right now is the way that they're doing the math facts is all very unique. She's very visual, and this is kind of fun. It's like intersecting, and she's having to do this, and it's constant practice, but she's using her multiplication chart for this. So it shows her like, this was blank, and she had to figure out what went here based on the 56. And then, so it's just a creative way that they have in this program to practice the math facts. And then it's gone on to practicing them with area of regular things. You know, Chantel, I honestly don't know if the grades are off or accurate. She struggled enough with math that I just moved her back to 3A because I could care less what the number on the front of the book says. She is actually in 5th grade, though she is 11. She will turn 12 this summer because we held her back because she was so near the cutoff. So the funny thing is, and I see you saying that, Andy, I ordered this for my son because the textbook is a comic book. And I thought, oh my gosh, he is so going to love this comic book. And really, he's really good with Singapore. The traditional way of learning is working really well for him. And so it turned out that I put my 5th grader in it, and I had ordered the 3A because I was going to put my son in it, who's in 3rd grade. Anyway, that's how it looked. So they're going to do a lot of exploring patterns of the charts and stuff like that. So she will be constantly using her multiplication chart to look up these facts and to talk about numbers that have a product of 24 and a product of 12 and all of that. So yeah, I think you just have to worry about moving forward in the math and exactly keeping flexible. Lena, it's so fun to see you on there, by the way. Lena is a friend of mine from childhood. And so it's so fun to see her on Periscope now because we don't live near each other. And I do have a catch page. Again, I am not an expert. I'm just sharing my experience as a math teacher in the public school and now as a homeschool mom that I really loved helping kids progress forward in their math and not hanging them up with the facts. I can't guarantee you that my second daughter is going to memorize her facts. I really have no idea what that outcome will be, but I feel like she's getting a lot of them at this point. She's starting to see them so often between our minute math and between her assignment. But instead of putting her head down in frustration and tears on the desk, as soon as she sees multiplication, she gets it done. And for me, that was the key. Instead of feeling like, I hate math. Yeah, brave math. No, my friend Jessica, if you want brave math, you need to follow Tar Heel Mom. I am not good at thinking outside of the workbook box. And she does so much literature and amazing stuff with math. And I always hesitate to talk about math because I am a little more traditional. But I think outside of the box a little. I've kind of pushed the walls out just a bit. I could do more, but I'm getting there. 6, 7, and 8s are hands down the hardest section. I always tell my kids that right here where the 6, 7, and 8s intersect is the hardest part in the whole chart. So when I used to have the kids trained to fill this out in 2 minutes, they would do the 1s across, they would do the 2s up and down, then the 5s up and down, the 10s up and down, and then the 9s. You know you can fill this in with 9s if you write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then at this side write 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Brilliant, yeah? And then you do it going down this way. You would have the 0 in front of the 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then go to the other side. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because they all add up to 9 and it's an easy way. And then the kids could count the 3s and 4s pretty easily. And what are you left with? The 6, 7, and 8 block. And they have to just use their fingers, add them all up. I also teach them all to do the 9s on their fingers, just in case you haven't seen it. Yeah, and the 9s on your fingers, where you start over here and you say 9 times 3, and they go 1, 2, 3, and they put the 3rd down, and then it's 27. 9 times 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you get 45. 9 times 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 72. So we learn all kinds of tricks, but I guess my main point on here was just to encourage you all that you would not be the only house with kids who cannot get the facts down, and I was a math teacher, who is still moving forward and handing them resources. I don't hand a calculator because I like the idea of them having to do a little more thinking and looking up the number and finding the answer there. I don't know, just me. I feel like that trains their brain a little better in memorizing it. Other than that, one resource I wrote down that I hadn't mentioned, in case you don't know, extramath.com will keep track of the facts. You can sign up for an account for free for your kids, and they will give you facts each day, and they keep track of the ones that the kids are getting right. The only thing I don't like about Extra Math is they time you. So I go into the settings and I put it in the longest amount of time possible. I'm not into timing kids. 1 minute math, I've never timed my kids and told them they can't move on until they have the worksheet in under a minute. I just talk to them. Do you feel like you have that fact down? What if I asked you that fact? You know, could you answer it? And we move on when we think they're ready. I am not about speed. I want them to be able to relax a little. Reflex Math, there's another one. I don't know that one. I have a friend who uses IXL. You only get 20 problems free a day though, and to me that's a hassle. But she likes her kids to go in and do their 20 problems and be done. So I don't know if there's any other questions. That's really what I just wanted to show you. I've never used 9s down. Is that a game or is that a computer thing? I love games, by the way. Anything that you're multiplying, we use like 24. And yeah, IXL has everything. She just goes into the math section and lets them do 20 free problems. You can do 20 a day in any subject. So she picks math because she doesn't sign up for it. Oh, it's like 1 minute math. Okay. No, I'll have to look that up. I love having a variety of resources because I feel like the kids get bored. They just, they need to see it a different way. Oh, that's a good idea. It starts with 9s first. Thanks, Lena. I'm going to look that up because I could definitely use another way to approach it. For my 9-year-old who's starting his facts this semester and my 11-year-old who's still doing them. So math by Math on the Level. Oh, I've heard really good things about Math on the Level. Speaking of the 9-year-old who's starting his facts, that was him. So thanks for sharing. I will look that up. That's great to know. I feel like the more you can get it in front of me, yeah, and I get bored. Oh my gosh, I get so bored. Like flashcards, I've never done. I've never done flashcards with my kids. Looking at Extra Math was our flashcards on the computer because the paper one, I couldn't stomach it after a day of school. Like I just couldn't do it. I've asked my husband and it just doesn't happen. But the Extra Math on the computer has been our flashcards. And then the constant having the multiplication chart while you proceed in your math. And I'm surprised how much of the math facts they're picking up that way. So that was all what I had to say. I've missed you guys. I've been sick this week. Just a cold, but you know how that can just run you down.
Can I go outside?
Yes, put on your shoes. Oh, good. Yeah, you know, and in Brave Scopes, those of you who are in Brave Scopes, maybe we could start a little thread with some apps on the iPad. We're about to have a 9-hour trip to Florida, and it would be great to have some math fact apps on there to force everyone to take a turn at. Make use of that 9 hours. So you are welcome, ladies. Definitely share ideas in Facebook, and thanks for tuning in. I will see some of you tonight, possibly. I have my book club for Lord of the Flies, so I'll be scoping our setup for that. Yeah, you know, sometimes people do copy work with the math facts. I have 2 children, my 2 middle children really struggle with handwriting as well. So I can't do the copy work to them. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I need to do a little work on my roots here, but thank you. I did go put on some earrings before I scoped. That always helps. And ever since Alex mentioned it, I keep my Burt's Bees little lipstick right next to my tripod. Lord of the Flies is a boomerang book, which Julie has marked Brave Writer 7th through 12th grade. My book club is for 7th and 8th grade. So it is a violent book. It is a deep book about the depravity of mankind. So it is probably not for kids under 7th. I think that's the lowest. A lot of people study it in high school. So if you have little kids, you might tune in just to see the fun, but it's going to be a little while. You might read it yourself if you never had. Yeah, it's a violent book. 2 of the boys get killed. And by the end, the depravity and savagery have just overtaken them, that they are actually physically hunting the last boy down, like truly hunting him down to kill him. They're rescued in time, and he doesn't get killed. But it's a really powerful book. But yeah, it's violent. You need to know your kids. And yeah, I've heard from a lot of people high school. When I looked it up, I was finding a lot of information based on middle school. So we kind of went with it. But it's definitely an older kids book. So we will talk about that tonight. It was fun to see you all. Thanks for tuning in. And pull out those multiplication charts in the back of those composition books and just trudge ahead in your math. Make it fun and interesting again, and let your kids feel confident and enjoy it again. I think that is the beauty of pulling out that multiplication chart. And maybe hopefully memorizing them as you keep seeing them. All right. Thanks, girls. Bye-bye. Oh, I got to focus on something else. We'll go back to that lovely quote. Oh, good. I'm glad it was helpful, ladies. Keep pressing on.